From Great Britain, Emma Raducanu.
Wow, what a roar for the British defending champion.
It's difficult. Alize is super experienced, and she made my life really difficult out there.
That's amazing scrambling from Cornet.
She scrapped a lot, threw a lot of junk in the middle of the court, but it was really difficult to deal with and pretty effective.
Cornet just getting the better of Raducanu in that one. Have you ever seen a better collection of exquisite drop shots from anyone?
That's just too good.
Last year, Emma Raducanu came here and conquered all. She did not even drop a set. That is the first set that Raducanu has dropped here in New York in the course of her career. Got her again. That's unbelievable reactions from Cornet. Is French flair at its absolute finest. The dream year continues for Alize Cornet, and she knocks out defending champion here, Emma Raducanu.
I'll go back, reflect. I hope to play some more tournaments in the rest of the year and build on that. And I know my ranking is going to drop, and for me the challenge is how far can I kind of climb in the rest of the year.
It was a tough night for Emma Raducanu. Perhaps not the most unexpected night. Alize Cornet, a great competitor, having her best ever year on tour. But there is a lot to talk about. Jim, Tim, as we said, you were both there. What's your initial reaction to what we saw from Emma Raducanu last night?
Yeah, it was a tough night. I think when you reflect on the practice session of an hour and 5 minutes, she was probably, Emma was, pretty tight going into the match. And I do think Cornet deserves a lot of credit. She's such a good competitor. She had the experience. She made life very difficult in those conditions. And, Emma gave it her best shot. She, didn't play her best, but she fought from the first point to the last. Yeah, it's the end of a chapter, an amazing 12-month chapter. But hopefully, as she's talked about, she can draw a line in the sand and really look to build for the future.
Will there be relief for Emma Raducanu right now?
It sure sounded like it. And I remember when Pete Sampras won at a very early age here in a very surprising fashion as well, not quite as dramatic as Emma's. He talked about when he lost the next year how he felt like everything just sort of came off of his back. He'd been carrying a load of stress that he wasn't even really aware of until he lost. So for her, maybe this will be freeing in many ways, because of course there was expectation. Of course there was magic here last year, and it was going to be very difficult to recapture that no matter what, but especially when you get a very difficult draw, which Alize Cornet definitely was.
Yeah, well, she was asked about that clean slate in her press conference after the match, and this is what she had to say.
In a way, yeah, it is a clean slate and I can just start again. I don't know what my ranking will be, probably pretty low down, but with perspective, I've actually, as a 19-year-old, had a not bad year. To be top 100, I'd be like, okay, if you told me that a year ago, I'd take it. But, I think that it would be, it would be nice in a way to kind of just start over, start fresh. But, off the court, I don't think it will make much of a difference, to be honest. The most exciting thing is, trying to do well or at each of the different tournaments, regardless of what it is. It sounds weird, but okay, US Open and defending champion, obviously it would have been great to defend the title, but I kind of want new experiences. In a way, I've kind of done that, so I want another tournament. And it doesn't really matter what it is. I think any player would be happy to win a tournament. I think it makes a massive difference no matter what the level is. So yeah, I think that I'll play some 250s. I think the rest of the year is that, and we'll see what the calendar holds.
It was an incredibly honest press conference from Emma Raducanu. Look, there was a lot of emotion there. I think there was a reason why she was wearing that hat and it was pulled down across her face. But her ranking drops to around 80 in the world now, pretty much around there. We don't know exactly. Could that be good for her? She'll have to start playing smaller tournaments, qualifying. She'll stop getting buys. She might get more matches.
Look, I think the reality is we've got to pull back from the U.S. Open lens. We got to take a 10,000-foot view. She needs to take a 10,000-foot view, and it sounds like she's planning to. And look at what the next 10 years hold, not what the next 10 weeks hold. She needs to have a game plan in place. We've talked about this, Tim, about how she needs to have a solid team around her that she can build something with and make sure that she's ticking all the boxes that all of her opposition is. She's clearly talented. She's clearly smart. She's clearly going to have opportunities no matter what her ranking is to get into any tournament she wants to. So have a plan, execute it, and just go get the best out of yourself, because we've seen what that can be, and it's pretty darn good.
Okay, talk me through the Jim and Tim Emma Raducanu game plan on and off court. What does that look like?
It's structure. I mean, it's the old cliche of process, not outcome. And I think there's plenty of occasions when I've looked at the way Emma's played, and I'm saying she's this good in spite of the setup. And that's no disrespect to the people around her, but the chopping and changing, the lack of continuity, it makes it hard. And so if she can now, as she's talked about, really, look to the future to put that structure in place so that she can have the consistent messaging, she can have the consistent work in the gym on her strength and conditioning. We know all the pieces of the puzzle are there. She's a great player. She's a great competitor. She's got a great attitude, but it's all a little bit disjointed. And right now, I think it will give her the opportunity to go away and hopefully put that in place.
How hard is that going to be for her to take control in that way when there are so many strong, influential voices around her? Not necessarily negative ones, just people with opinions.
Yeah.
She's only 19.
It's hard. It's going to be very difficult for her, Catherine, I'm sure, because taking ownership at any age is a challenge, but she'll hopefully realize that she is a business and she has an opportunity here to get the most out of her amazing ability. We've already seen what the Apex looks like. There's no reason she can't recreate that, but you have to build the base now, because now the surprise factor is gone. She's not going to sneak up on anybody like she did last year. She's got to build the base with the fundamentals, and she's had a lot of good people around her. She just had too much fluctuation with those good people. There's not been any stickiness to her team that I've seen, and I'm on the outside looking, and I know you guys are much closer to it in the UK than I am over here, but it's just been a little bit disheartening to watch her not be able to have something solid behind her, because I think we all understand how difficult this year must have been for her with everyone else's expectations. You at least need some people in the foxhole with you that you can rely on and get through those challenging moments when you're doubting yourself, and have that plan that you can fall back on. I mean, that's one thing. When you talk about process, you lose a tough match. If you know that I've got a plan, I want to get back on the court and on the track and in the gym tomorrow, I've got a plan to go forward. There's reasons for optimism, and there's less cloudiness and concern, I think, if you have that stability, that bedrock underneath you.
She's talked about freedom, hasn't she? The freedom that she felt last year, she was just vibing it, which I think was her words, Tim, not yours. Is it possible to rediscover that freedom, or is that something you only get when everything is fresh and new?
No, I absolutely do think you can find that freedom again, and I think in some respects, as Jim mentioned about Pete Sampras, it's understandable to win at that age so unexpected. It's an honest answer, and I think now when she said that there may be an element of relief that she can now start afresh, the rankings don't lie, she has an opportunity to go away, and she's never going to be under the radar, but she has been massively in the spotlight for the last 12 months, and I think it's important that she can build again, not only build her ranking, build her confidence, and start progressing her rankings, and perspective is important. I think it was Judy Murray that said that in terms of her age group, there's probably only 3 or 4 others who are ahead of her in the rankings. She hasn't become a bad player overnight. She's had, a massively challenging but exciting 12 months, but it is now about the next chapter, and she needs to, put these pieces of the puzzle in place.
Yeah, well, listen, we wish her well, and we'll be following her every step of the way. She wasn't the only former champion to lose last night.